All right, it is district breakdown time. 22-6A. We got Jon Poorman here from the Houston Chronicle. Jon, last year, Deer Park kind of put the whole thing together and won the district, but they got hit hard with graduation. So who knows where they'll be this year? Is it a chance for Dobie to get back on top, or do you see somebody else in there?
Yeah, potentially. I mean, those were the top two teams in the district last year, Deer Park and Dobie battling it out for district supremacy. Deer Park finished 6-0 on top there, and Dobie 5-1 with their only loss to the Deer. So, yeah, I mean, I think going into it, Deer Park's got to be the favorite. Coach Austin Flynn has done a great job since taking over that program. And, but you can never count Dobie out. It seems like every time I'm putting together, preseason rankings, I'm doing weekly rankings, you kind of get deeper into the regular season, and you see Dobie there, and they're 6-1, 7-1, 8-0, whatever it may be, and they're always hanging around. The tough part for this district is they get 21-6A in the bi-district round, which is really tough when you're going up against the likes of North Shore, Tascasita, Summer Creek, and C.E. King and those guys. But yeah, I mean, going into it, you got to roll with the Deer for now. We'll see what happens with the rest of the district, but I think they're the prohibitive favorites.
The thing about Dobie is they run the wing T offense, and that's something that these other six teams probably don't see the whole rest of the year. So do you think that gives them an advantage there, because you're not quite sure which one of those three running backs is going to get it, and you have to prepare for it that time and may never have to prepare for it again?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. That they obviously have a new coach down there in Damon Stafford, so it'll be interesting to see kind of, if their offense changes, what they do differently, how they kind of, attack opposing defenses. But yeah, anytime you're running an offense, that throws different wrinkles at defenses and makes them have to think and take another step mentally, I think that's always an advantage. Of course, all these teams in this district have seen Dobie, plenty of times over the past several years. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm really excited to see kind of what Stafford brings to the table as far as that offense goes and what they can accomplish.
I think we kind of both agree Deer Park and Dobie will be in the playoffs, but there's two other spots, 5 other teams. What do you think about those 2 other spots? I know Channelview kind of has the best athlete in the district, Marquise Neal, but who else do you think might find their way into the postseason?
Yeah, really intrigued by Channelview. As you mentioned, Neal is just such a great athlete, dynamic playmaker, can, break off a long play for a touchdown on any given touch that he gets. But I really like the rest of their team as well. They've got 13 returning starters, so that's always a good thing. Got plenty of experience, 7 on the offensive side of the ball, 6 on defense, so a pretty balanced there as far as, experience goes. So that always plays well, and I think that they are really going to be in the mix, maybe not even just getting into the playoffs, but potentially challenging for one of those top 1 or 2 spots. It's going to be interesting to see how it all kind of shakes out. As far as the rest of the district, I think kind of that 4th spot is really interesting because I think it's going to be kind of up in the air. It's going to come down to these late season matchups where, you have these teams battling it out that are tied in the standings, 4th, 5th, 6th place, and these games are really going to matter. So it's going to come down to later in the season, I think. But yeah, I mean, if you're looking at it on paper here before the season starts, you got to like, Deer Park, Dobie, and Channelview, I think, for those top 3 positions.
Absolutely. And like you said, or like we both said, there's 7 teams. So you have to leave for all 3 of them. So those 4 Pasadena teams that aren't named Dobie, you got to beat each other out. And I guess if you want to see a silver lining, you're not going to go big school. So you're not going to play a Tascasita or North Shore, but you are going to play a team that went at least 3 rounds deep in the playoffs last year. And between me and you, will probably be the end of their season. But getting into the postseason would be something special.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's going to be interesting, like I said, to see who can kind of emerge from the pack. All these programs have some different things going for them. Rayburn started out the season 4-0 last year before things kind of, didn't shake out the way they wanted necessarily in district play and the rest of the schedule. But yeah, I mean, it's just going to be, some really good battles. I think I remember in this district last year, there was some close games, especially between those Pasadena schools. So I'm looking forward to more of the same this year.
Absolutely. All right, 23-6A is up next week. They got a state title coach moving over into that district, so that ought to be interesting to talk about as well, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. This is one of the districts that I kind of earmarked here. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be competitive. You got some good programs. Like you said, Coach Scott coming over from Peyto, fresh off a state championship. That always adds an interesting storyline, so should be fun there.
Awesome. Well, I'll speak to you next week.
All righty, sounds good.